Welcome, everybody, to the Zencash biweekly update on May 30th, 2018, hosted today by Rob Viglione at FinPunk from the team. So we have some other guest speakers today who will have some very interesting things to discuss. I'll be introducing you to Dean, our new general counsel, who will discuss some of our legal developments. And then I'll pass it over to Rowan, who has just a whirlwind of business development activity that you'll be very excited to hear. And then we'll talk. I'll talk to the development updates, and then pass it off to Rosario for marketing, and then we'll hand it off to the country lead and regional manager team to discuss what we have going on around the world. So let's see. The really big announcement today, guys. This has nothing to do with BD and nothing to do with any dev activity, but we've made it to precisely our 1-year anniversary of being live on mainnet. So this is a really big deal, a huge accomplishment, battling through the big ups and downs of this industry, particularly a bear market. But the team has grown wonderfully. We've come together as a team incredibly, and the community has just been awesome. So the fact that we're here exactly 1 year after mainnet going live is just pretty cool. And I'm pretty excited to see where we're going to be in the next year. So some of the stuff we'll talk about. But before we get into that, we'll do our usual community member shout outs here. So Till, you won the Best Conference Support Ever award by the team for supporting BTCM 2018. So thank you very much. And I believe from a comment in Discord, we misspelled your last name. Sorry about that. And Nathan, again, I think we botched your previous contribution. So what you've been doing has actually been awesome support for the project and helping us get out there with the grassroots outreach to the crypto influencer community, particularly on YouTube, and just reaching out and getting us just tons of really cool interviews. This to me is my favorite type of marketing. It's grassroots. It goes back to our community origins, and I think is what we're all about. And then, of course, Sodio Mayor. Thank you very much for supporting the secure nodes in Telegram and Discord, and just fielding constant barrage of difficult, maybe not for you, but difficult questions that people have that helps them out significantly. So appreciate that support. And as a community project that takes our user experience quite seriously, this is an extremely valuable contribution. So thank you. So moving on to our 1 year operating today slide, guys. This is slide 4 in the deck. This is huge. So this is just a beautiful, wrapped version of our roadmap here that you can see. Just a quick snapshot. So we did a 1 year anniversary party 2 weeks ago in New York, which was awesome. We had such a great turnout. I think the party went spectacular. We had some really cool Zen to the Moon cupcakes and cake, thanks to Lucy, and just we had Tatiana performing. Rosario just did an awesome job. Things just went really well, and it was just really nice to bring so many members of the team from all over the world, and just community members who happen to either be at Blockchain Week or Fluent specifically to be with us to share in this event. So that was really awesome. And this slide we presented during that talk, and we seem to always have some tech issues. I had some mic issues at the time, so I couldn't really speak to it too eloquently. But guys, look at where we've come in the last year here. So just 1 year operating on mainnet. I think we're killing it as a project. We're just doing an incredible job accelerating on all fronts that we're operating in. So what we did, just kind of walking you through here, so we launched in Q2 of last year, today, exactly, like I said. But then within a few months after that, by Q3, we had already expanded the privacy features of our technology. So we created and put down an MVP product for the Zen Chat protocol. We layered in TLS and SSL certs into our protocol, and we set up a handful of Tor nodes that were released for users that wanted an enhanced level of privacy to be able to access our network. And then 3 months, so the next quarter, Q4, then our secure node system went live. This was a huge differentiating feature for the project, absolutely critical for where we want to go. And people that have been hearing us talk about our long-term vision, the node system is a crucial part of it. That launching in Q4 of 2017. Big shout out to DevMan, to Alan for making this entire thing possible, and for the team to support him. Was awesome. So we launched, And obviously, whenever you launch something to production level environments, you have kind of learning. You learn from your mistakes, you improve things, and what we've been doing. Actually, our release was beta officially, and what we've been doing since then has been continual improvements. So every 2 weeks, we have new delivery of improvements into the system, and these improvements oftentimes just go on behind the scenes with tweaking parameters for how we do tracking, payments, and whatnot. So huge shout out to the team for making that happen, but we're not stopping there. What we did at the start of, well, actually in January of this year, was we announced our big IOHK R&D partnership. Again, huge for the project. This was where we started off with 2 heavy-hitting R&D projects with IOHK that just had a ton of expertise in science, engineering, cryptography to be able to help us build what is going to be a world-renowned blockchain-based voting system built into our protocol that governs our resource allocation for the project. So this is a beautiful thing, and this, I think, is absolutely critical if we're going to take decentralization and hence censorship resistance seriously. You can't be relying on, say like us as team members into perpetuity to, handling resources well, and then say that we're actually censorship resistant, because human beings are big points of failure for systems. So the more that we can systematize and automate and take humans out of the loop, the better for the project in the long term. So that's exactly what we're doing with IOHK, but they're also working on a huge project for our scaling, our long-term scaling solution here, a critical component of it, which is doing R&D into looking at the feasibility of a block DAG upgrade to the protocol. So a block tree, or a block version of a directed acyclic graph, which is essentially a tree generalized architecture from what we have as standard for blockchains right now, with kind of a sequential block relationship. So this could be absolutely huge for the project if we pull it off successfully. It is a high-risk R&D project in the sense that we're taking an academic protocol, validating math proofs, and then prototyping, and then looking at production implementation. There's a long sequence here, guys. We don't want to overhype these things, but it is truly remarkable. The fact that we're even looking at this stuff is awesome. And now IOHK is also helping us out with some of our side chaining research that we're looking to do for our very near-term architectural upgrade. So moving along here, guys, the next big pivot for the project, as I mentioned, the side chains. This was a paper that we released about a month ago detailing, or at least giving you an overview, an architectural overview of the system that we envision for our our transition from being a cryptocurrency with a chat protocol to now being a broader platform-based project, where what we're trying to do is we're trying to make this technology useful to human beings, right? Blockchain in itself could be cool. The technology is pretty cool, looking at innovative uses of cryptography and expanding into DAG architectures and whatnot. But really, if we're not focusing on the end user, our consumer, and providing real-world value, it's really not as special of a project as it should be. Really, what's the point of it? So this is really our big announcement that will have really long and deep implications for the project that we're just starting to think about now, but we're having fun trying to design the architecture. So this will be a really big improvement for the project. And then we're also looking at actually going live with our next hard fork. We have some really critical core blockchain updates that will be released to the market, which have some actually very significant performance improvements. So we've had some issues, or not issues, well, yeah, we'll say issues of whenever there's a big event for the project, like listing on Binance, and we have a huge flood of activity on the chain, things could be delayed and stalled. So what we're doing now already, what has been in the works, have been some core update improvements that solve some of these issues, and our lead software developer Alberto has done an incredible job actually innovating on even like core innovations that we'll release in detail, but improve even like any Bitcoin-like protocol is a big improvement on how we do hash checks and how we process transactions in general, and then have some nice implications for just accelerating or improving the efficiency of our chain. So we've got a ton going on, guys. We can't leave this discussion without just mentioning the Supernode system, this whole new node tier that will be going live at the end of the year, officially going live with its own tracking and payment system. But with this next hard fork, in July, we're actually going to have the consensus changes and the multi-sig set up for the new block reward accumulation, which we're going to have an interim system so that secure and supernode operators will be able to realize their new income streams right away post hard fork. So a lot of really amazing, interesting stuff going on, guys. And I can't, again, there's so much going on. I don't want to leave the slide, but I also want to give a huge shout out to the Arizen team that Lucas has been running. And so Arizen went live for us, which was our first really cool light client wallet at the Q4 of last year. But now 6 months later, and Team Lucas is continually putting out new and significant updates to the software. So we'll hear a lot more detail about that. I've probably belabored this one slide, but guys, this is huge. Happy anniversary. Congratulations to the team and to the community for making this happen. So let me introduce, so Dean Steinbeck is our new general counsel on the project. And before I hand off to Dean, let me just mention one really important fact that he told me is one big reason that a lot of startups fail is because they don't hire a general counsel. And just having him on the team now for the last couple months, I can tell you he's absolutely right. The amount of support he's provided for the team has already been exponential and synergistic across every single division that we operate in. So Dean, welcome to the team. And do you want to discuss your slide here?
Yes, thank you, Rob. Thank you for the introduction. And I might have to confess that I was probably biased when I told you about the role of general counsels and how important we are.
Maybe a little bit. Slightly.
Well, anyway, hi everyone. As Rob mentioned, my name is Dean Steinbeck, and I am general counsel at Zencash. A little background information on me. I am a U.S. corporate lawyer with a focus on data privacy and intellectual property. For the past decade, I've been working with traditional VC-backed software development companies, but was obviously instantly drawn to Zencash when I learned about the project. So I'm extremely excited to be part of the team and really look forward to participating in many more bi-weeklies to come. With that said, so as general counsel, one of my primary roles is to ensure that Zencash remains in compliance with government regulations. We are a Delaware nonprofit corporation, and so we have to take these obligations seriously. As many of you have probably heard, on May 25th, the European Union's new privacy law came into effect. It's called the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDP for short, and it governs how organizations like Zencash may collect and store personal data, and is considered really a best practices in terms of how companies should treat personal data. So in order to comply with GDPR, we engaged in a comprehensive engineering effort, and I'd like to take a minute to say hats off to our engineering team for the hard work that they put in to do this. But they were successful in data mapping all of our sites and making sure that we understand where and how we're collecting and storing user data. And the result of their effort was a revised privacy policy, which I really encourage everyone to read. The new privacy policy describes the data we collect from all of our sites, how we use that data, and what rights our users have to their personal data. And for now, that's all on the legal side. Thank you, Rob.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dean. So it's already seeing some huge improvements just to the project overall for having you here. Really excited about that. But the other thing to be really excited about, guys, let me hand it off now to Rowan to talk about just the ridiculous amount of BD that's been going on.
Hey, guys. So first and foremost, really happy to hear Dean chiming in on the bi-weekly. Awesome to have him as part of this team. Very good addition. So first and foremost, we are going to talk about the one thing that everybody's really been waiting for at least the past 6 months. So Zencash is now trading on Binance. Now this solves two pretty large problems we've had in the past. First one being it really helps to decentralize our liquidity and arguably remove a kind of single point of failure that we had previously by having the majority of our daily trading volume on Bittrex. The second problem it solves is that it allows people that are new to the crypto space the ability to jump in and buy Zen quickly and easily. Whereas previously they wouldn't be able to register an account on Bittrex, or they'd struggle with a low volume exchange, or whatever the case may be. So now we're trading live, Zen with BNB, BTC, and Ethereum. Really, really excited. Major milestone for the project. Huge thank you to everybody that helped make it happen. So that's kind of announcement one. Next up, we are really happy to announce a partnership with Cred. Now, Cred is a micro investment platform that's aiming firmly for the mass market. So the way this works is that they have selected 15 of the best and brightest cryptocurrencies, and their users will be able to invest their spare change from daily purchases into their own bespoke crypto fund. So you can select to invest your spare change in either just one or any number of those 15 cryptocurrencies. You can also set up recurring payments, and we'll be on the platform as soon as it launches. So getcred.io, I urge you to go and check it out. Really cool team, fantastic user interface, really excited to be part of that project. I think they'll do really, really well. We've also just announced listing on ByteBTC. So that went live just a little bit earlier on today. I've had a little bit play around on the site myself. User interface is really, really nice. We're actively trading with US dollars, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So really happy to be announcing ByteBTC listing today. We're also announcing stocks.exchange listing. Again, this just went live literally just a few hours ago. Zen Bitcoin, Zen Litecoin, and Zen Tether. Now, I hope you'll be realizing that we are taking the push to jump on to as many different exchanges as we possibly can really, really seriously, putting some serious resource into it and some serious time, as you'll see in the next couple of slides. Next up is GoDex. So GoDex is a little bit different. So these guys are aiming to go toe-to-toe with the likes of Changelly and Shapeshift. So no user registration required. There's no limits to trading, nice low fees, 0.5%, and they'll automatically exchange Zen to any number of their 100 cryptocurrencies at best available market rate. Again, I had a play around with this morning. It has a fantastic user interface. It worked really, really quickly. Highly recommend you go and check out godex.io. You'll see Zen live there now. And then a big shout out to our Latin American team for getting us on Panda Exchange. So Panda are based in Bogota, Colombia. And at the moment we're trading with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. However, they'll be adding local fiat currency pairings for users in Colombia, Canada, Portugal, and Mexico very soon. So watch this space. And then the last slide from me, if you've been watching these bi-weeklies previously, you'll know that we are integrating with Xeeda. So Xeeda is the world's first hardware wallet designed for smartphones. Really, really cool device. The whole idea here being that the traditional, or I guess, previous generation of hardware wallets, the Ledgers and Tracers of the world, require you to have a desktop or a laptop to spend your funds. So the Xeeda hardware wallet will work with a smartphone. Rather than typing in a PIN or a passcode, you're able to use your biometric scanner on the smartphone, access a really nice user interface. Your keys still stay on the Xeeda hardware wallet, operates exactly like any others, but they'll transmit through a nice UI and an app. So the cool announcement here is that the Xeeda pre-orders for everybody go live on the 5th of June. However, the Zen community will be getting a kind of first dib. So we'll be announcing on our social channels very, very soon the date for the Zencash presale and the special price that they'll be listed at. So keep an eye on that. And I'll pass back to Rob to take us through an update for Blue Frontiers partnership.
Cool. Thank you very much, Rowan. Awesome updates. And I'm super happy that we can finally answer the question of when Binance. My favorite question over the last several months. So, okay, guys, Blue Frontiers and Zencash. So this is actually a topic that we've been talking about actually multiple prior live streams. And the reason is that what the Blue Frontiers and Seasteading Institute are doing in experimental governance in the real world, just offshore, is perfectly aligned with what we're trying to do in the software domain, trying to bring people together, tear down borders and these arbitrary frictions in society, and just make the world a better place, right? I mean, it can't get better than that. So this is why we, first and foremost, the biggest reason why we partnered with Blue Frontiers is because we just align so well philosophically. We're all about decentralization, all about optional participation, for human welfare. So what we're doing really with this partnership, it stems from actually a non-binding LOI. That's a letter of intent, which means that we're doing investigation between organizations to see how we can actually work together in the future. And what this means specifically is we're looking to use our governance and our voting system that we have in prototype right now as a sort of like voting for service, model that they could be our first clients for. And the vision here is if we can have thousands of seasteads one day using the Zen voting system, this would be absolutely huge and major impact for how we can make society a better place, but also how we're actually leveraging in the real world the system that we're building right now. So this is the most exciting part of it. And what Blue Frontiers is doing is they're going down the ICO route, and they're raising funds via crowd sale of their Varion coin. Now, I have to say, or the Varion token, I should say. And the pre-sale is going on now. This is not an endorsement to invest, guys. We have to foot stomp this. I mean, I'm personally a huge fan of what Blue Frontiers and Seasteading are doing, but that does not necessarily translate into an amazing investment opportunity. So do your own diligence, check it out if it's something they're interested in, but by no means take this as an investment advice. But what we did do for you, because we have a relationship with Blue Frontiers, is we were able to secure a discount for Zen investors into their ICO. So that's the big update here, guys. But again, this is not investment advice. You have to do your own diligence and don't invest more than you can afford to lose. This is like we're the anti-shill crowd, because we tell you very actively, don't invest all your money in Zen. Well, probably the same deal holds for Varion. Don't invest all your money in Varion. I personally think that this is an awesome project to see where it goes as an experiment, but you have to look into it yourself and do your own due diligence. Okay, let's move on to the engineering updates here. So the biggest update that we have for you on the engineering side, something that's actually delivered right now. Team Lucas actually had their merge here go live for the live stream. So that was really cool, really awesome, guys. Thank you very much for doing that. But the big news for Arizen now is that the light client, which Arizen is, now supports Z transactions. Now, the caveat here is that this is only for secure node operators, because it uses a remote access to your secure node to process the Z transactions, or process the transactions from or to your shielded address. So this is first real world use case for secure nodes, which I think is really awesome. And like I said in the introduction today, the fact that the Arizen team just keeps on innovating on this software is really awesome. So kudos to them. So what happens here, though, is your private keys for your Z addresses on your secure nodes are synchronized into the Arizen wallet, and then vice versa. So you can actually remote use the system, remote use your secure node server to process transactions that either are initiated or received by your Arizen wallet. So really cool stuff. And slide 2 here, which is slide 15 in our deck, just shows an example of a Z2T transaction using the remote access to your secure node server. And let's just give this a moment so you guys can see the demo here from the back office of your secure node. So pretty cool stuff. Secure node operators, check it out. So the Arizen team has continually done an awesome job of making the Arizen product super user-friendly and useful to secure node operators, especially with their sweep function for your stake addresses. So this is just another example of that. So kudos to the team. Thank you very much for all of your hard work. And moving on to the secure node update slide. So DevMan unfortunately can't make it today to speak to the slide, so I'll just do a quick rundown. But the big news here is the tracking system, the secure node APIs are in progress, and we've hit 11,500 plus secure nodes. So again, we are a massive network here for the industry as far as this industry goes, and I expect there to be continued growth of the network particularly as the next hard fork ushers in new consensus rules for the budget allocations towards secure node and super node operators. But what I really like to see here are the stats on the table here to the right. So you can see with a Zen price of $30.95, we've actually paid out as a project so far about $1.3 million to secure node operators. And we have about almost $15 million worth of Zen locked up in secure node staking addresses. So this is, I think, at this critical, like rapid coin emission part of our supply path is extremely important to do. So secure nodes have an extremely important function for our system, particularly as we grow out our platform, but it also is a big source of stability for the project. Very happy with Dean's support here of mentioning that we're in compliance with GDPR on our secure nodes servers with the information that we track. And the big thing is we're continuing architectural development of our on-chain tracking and payment system, because the big deal for us this year is we want to take humans out of the loop as much as possible to be truly censorship resistant. So, and then some administrative stuff here is we're going to be transitioning to a new hosting provider. The schedule for this is still TBD, but we'll definitely inform all operators. And there should be no data loss in the transition. Any claims will be processed if there are any issues, as usual. So let's move on to the next slide. And I will transition to Rosario for marketing, but I have to say this is a pretty hilarious GIF you have going here.
Well, thank you, Rob. I wanted to continue the good news, and I even hear Oprah is excited about the faucet, so everybody gets Zen. So the faucet is back and operational. It was so effective, the bots loved it. So special thanks to Gustavo, Rocket, and Jonathan for getting it back running, redesigning it, and really excited to use this tool for at conferences and meetups to expand our mailing list and continue our exposure at events. So for those that are new to crypto, faucets are a good opportunity for people to gain exposure of a coin, in this case Zen, and by reducing the barrier of purchasing or holding the Zen. So really excited about this. Next slide, please. All right, so last month we asked for feedback on hashtags and we honed in on Zentastic. So thank you for all your submissions and inputs, and we're going to be cycling through. For now, we're going to use Zentastic. We thought that was very appropriate with our anniversary birthday coming up. So please use hashtag on social media, and I'll make this announcement again. Please help us grow our social media by sharing, liking, retweeting our content. And it's been a whirlwind years. And Rob went through a lot of our accomplishments in taking us through our actual deliverables. So from a marketing standpoint, we've tweaked our marketing strategy at least 5 times to adapt to the rapid crypto industry. And Rob, before, we are a full stack business, and that includes and reflects in our marketing team. So with that being said, we really want to learn more about our grown community. We want to know what's important to you, what you like, what you don't like. So please take a look at and submit a feedback for this survey that we have announced. We do want you to actually take time and provide your thoughts. So we are going to be giving some Zen. So if you want to win some free Zen, submit back. We're looking forward to that. So we'll be posting it here on Discord, on our different channels and social media. So please complete that. Also, do want to highlight that as we've seen a steady increase in our organic traffic. April was amazing. So we had 190% increase in from previous month. So that was an amazing feat. And while we can't pinpoint a say, we have been increasing our exposure on YouTube. So shout out to Meta for reaching out to different YouTubers, exposure there. We've had increased exposure on our media with journalists, so shout out to Waxman for helping us do that. And of course, our social media and our graphics and all of that is been improving. So also in the month of April, we had a DCG announcement as well. So, but 17% increase for May is amazing, and we will continue that increase. So for the month of May, we had 18 articles. So Rob had a great article about node incentivization on Bitcoin Magazine and NASDAQ. So please check those out, and Forbes as well. And 20 YouTube interviews this month. So I know that Rob and Rolf love to speak and talk about the project, so that this helps out in exposure. Next slide, please. And a part of our awareness is going to conferences, but particularly I want to highlight Consensus. So I remember last year there was 4 of us at Consensus handing out flyers announcing our pre-launch party. Fast forward 1 year, and we had this beautiful booth. We met so many investors, fans, made new connections. People knew about Zencash, and that's been an amazing feat for just an early project like us. So it was Consensus was a great success for business development, for marketing exposure, and hey, we even got a chance to say hello to Tika and other YouTube personalities that stopped by our booth. Next slide, please. And we had a birthday, so hopefully you guys have seen this video. If not, it should be released today. So just to take you through the party, and we did this to coincide with the hosted event of Blockchain Week in New York. So special thanks to Lucy and Jonathan for getting us this fabulous location, rooftop in New York City. We had about 300 people cycle through our party, which is very remarkable. And here in the pictures that I have on the slide, you see our Waxman crew, CMH crew, our Blue Frontier partners, and Rob giving his speech on our timeline. And we have a performance with Tatiana, so that was really, really cool. So the video is coming out. Like, share, leave a comment, and hashtag Zentastic. And all right, my last slide here for upcoming events. We really, really love to meet our community members and people that are interested in Zen. So if you're in the area for any of these conferences, please stop by our conference and get to meet us. So for June, June is going to be very, very busy. Rob is speaking at several conferences, FeeCon, Cryptolina, and I want to highlight that both Rob and Rolf are going to be at ZCon, that is the Zcash conference in Montreal. So this is great that our communities are coming together, and we really want to contribute to the privacy technology and jointly and contribute. So this is we're really excited for that collaboration. Tatiana is going to be representing us at PorcFest, and that is a anarchist, for those that don't know, anarchist great event about liberty and everything that Zen stands for. So shout out to her for that. And let's see, I think this is it. Davit is going to speak more about the Georgia conference. So help us grow Zen, and go. If you'd like to set up a meetup or anything like that, please submit a proposal on the forum. So I'm looking to sponsoring more of these meetups around the world. So please, if you have a proposal, go to the forum and submit these. And let's spread the Zen word around the world. Thank you. Back to you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you, Rosario. Awesome update. And Davit, do you want to just chime in on the on your updates?
Yes, sir. Actually, Alex has been a true champion in the past couple of weeks or month and really revved up the activity in terms of the meetings. So I'll let him speak about the three, I think it was 2 conferences and 1 meetup that he did in the past couple of weeks, and then I'll talk about the Tbilisi conference briefly. So Alex, if you can chime in and unmute yourself, please go ahead.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, as always. So basically, I'll try to be very quick because it's taking way too long time as usual with my weeklies. Last 2 weeks, I've been traveling a lot, just speaking about Zen. So on May 18th, I've been in Tolyatti. Now, Tolyatti is not exactly the blockchain capital of Russia. It's a very industrious city. So say chemicals, cars, heavy industry, that's where it gets produced. Nonetheless, we had a blockchain conference. I was actually one of the speakers there. I was a part of pitch session. So you have 3 minutes and you have to sell your product, and then there's a very harsh Q&A. I was very lucky. I don't have to sell Zen. So instead I talked about what we did throughout the year, how we built something from nothing. And it was great. I got our face out there. So people talked about Zen. That's always cool. Then we had the first meetup in Moscow on May 20th, and that was cool too, but it didn't go according to plan. We actually rented a venue with an access to the rooftop. We planned a very sunny day, wanted to drink beer with fellow Zenners. It didn't happen. It actually rained, and rained a lot. And I sincerely thank everyone who came because it really rained. We're actually planning on doing another meetup this time, and this time we'll go outside of Zen community and we'll do very developer-focused meetup. So stay tuned for that announcement. And last, on May 26th, I was in Minsk. It's Belarus, and Belarus is probably known, at least to some of you, because we've passed a very favorable crypto legislation, which makes it legal to operate in crypto. People are still very hesitant to actually jump aboard and do something with it. But after being in Minsk, I think that'll change and really soon. And I thank Oleg Karimov, the organizer of this event, who invited me. It was really great. I was actually a speaker at the big stage. It's the first time I got to speak to the audience of 200 people. And it feels really great to pull something like that off. It was a huge success. So yeah, that's all from my side. And back to you, David.
All right. So, Alex, you did so much in the past few weeks that I started worrying about my job security. So I had to pull off at least 1 meeting. So we're doing we're participating in the conference in Tbilisi, Georgia, and I was extremely enough to snatch Rob as one of the main speakers there in between the few days that he had available in the June. Actually, perfectly coincided with Tbilisi conference, and from there he's flying to Canada. So it's one of the major conferences in the region. You probably can't see on the picture here, but the website is available. It's, there's a major blockchain conference group that arranges those conferences throughout the world, and Georgia was one of the lucky places they picked. So obviously more details will be coming after we have that meeting. For the interest of time, just want to kind of put it out there. If there's any Georgians, please come by, join us, just like Rosario said, and we'll be happy to see you there. I think that's it for now, Rob. Back to you.
Cool, thanks, Davit. I'm also worried about my job security with Alex. But great job, guys. And I don't think that Arno is available for the German and Central European market. So, Rowan, do you want to take Arno's slide?
Yeah, of course, can do. So Arno and the Central European team were in Essen just recently, got an interview with the Balancier project, so big thanks to Philip for that. The guys are focusing on usability. Been speaking to a company called CoinTed who have 120 crypto ATMs all throughout Austria, so that's fantastic. Look forward to hearing more about that. And they also have a workshop for secure nodes planned at Strathmore University in Nairobi on the 6th of the 9th, 2018. And then at the bottom, special thanks to Ayara and Eunice. I think next up slide is the Italian market. Luca, are you available to take this?
Yes, here I am. Hello, everybody. Ciao, Robert and Rowan. And happy anniversary to everybody. It has been an amazing year altogether. So I will be very quick also because I'm sure you are already reading the slides. So today I have the pleasure to announce an exciting partnership with Vistali Casa and Bitcoin per Casa, a real estate company operating in Italy. So basically, the announcement is you can now spend your Zen to buy a house in Italy. Not only you can choose one of the available houses that they have already for sale, but you can also have them building a new villa for you. So in any place in Italy, basically on the mountains or in front of the sea, you can just choose where to build it or choose one of the houses they have already on sale. So Vistale has already experience in selling houses for Bitcoins. Now they are starting accepting Zencash as a payment method. And of course, more information will follow on our blog, and you can also get in contact with us as well as with Vistali if you would like to have more specific information. I have to say it has been a great pleasure to meet the folks from Vistali, and I have to do at least two special mentions. One goes to Davide from Vistali Casa. He has been super enthusiastic since the beginning on the Zencash integration. And the other goes to Jonas from our team, who has put really a lot of effort in making this project possible. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Vistali, for believing in us, choosing us for this amazing project. Another thing on which I'm investing my time is focusing on merchants adoption to grow the Zen Valley. And in particular, I'm presenting Pay2Mat, with which we are integrated. And finally, last but not least, I'm organizing a Zencash treasure hunt for the summer. This is just a teaser. Of course, more info will follow in the next weeks, but basically it will be a funny, hopefully funny, community reunion to be held in the Zen Valley. So to conclude, Robert, you mentioned that Rolf is looking for suggestions on where to go on vacation next time. I would suggest him to consider buying a house in the Zen Valley, and he will feel in vacation forever. Back to you, Rob.
Thank you, Luca. I think that he's going to want you to pay for the house, though. But you guys can hash out those details. So, cool. Thank you very much. Those are pretty awesome updates again. And Levis, do you want to give the Latin American update? Okay, Levis maybe having mic issues. Rowan, do you want to step in?
Yeah, sure. No problem at all. I'm just going to correct the date I gave previously. So the Strathmore Secure Node event isn't the date I said. It's actually the 8th and 9th of June. So apologies about that. So Levis and the team have been having a lot of success lately. They just had a really successful meetup in Cancun. You can see the picture for that in the top right. I believe Rob Skyped in and spoke to the guys there. So that went really, really well. Angie was speaking at a conference in Sao Paulo in Brazil just recently. You can see a picture of Angie on the stage. And then we also have a proposal from Crypto Conserje. Apologies if I completely murder the pronunciation of that. For merchant adoption in Colombia. So we're reviewing that with the team. Very much would like to encourage the community to have a little look on our forum. Comment, let us know what you think. Let us know if you think we should be pushing ahead with that. We certainly think it's a great proposal, so I'd love to hear some feedback from the rest of the community. Lastly, hosting UCLA Blockchain Lab at Code Particle on June the 7th. So that's it from the Latin American team. Up next, we have the Korean market. I don't believe Jonghun is available, but please step in if you are. Okay, cool. So Zencash first Korean meetup was on the 18th of May. You can see an image of Jonghun presenting to the guys down there. So thank everybody for participating in that. Jonghun is still actively seeking partnerships, and he has opened up himself to be a source of information for anybody in the Korean community that's looking to talk about how to set up secure nodes or have any questions around wallets or any of the kind of products or services we're offering. So you'll find Jonghun on Kakao Talk. Just search for Zencash. And I think that's us up at Q&A now.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Rowan. Guys, what you've heard today, I think, is absolutely remarkable. You can see how our team performs. We have just an awesome team across many divisions, for different business functions with engineering, and you see some of the BD output from this last 2 to 4 weeks has been absolutely remarkable. So we're not slowing down for the summer. We're going to be accelerating to this project. In particular, we have a really important core software upgrades to the project that we'll be releasing in July. So stay tuned for the actual release details. This will be extremely important, and we have an ops team ready to go to work with exchanges and pool operators and all major stakeholders to make sure that this hard fork goes very smoothly. So stay tuned for that. Some really interesting updates included in the code. So this will be our probably most important software update so far to the core protocol. So stay tuned. And guys, why don't we move over to Q&A? One question that I've seen from AdelX was about decentralization of our secure node network. And the point here was that there are data centers that have very competitive economics that induce many of our secure node operators to kind of go into these data centers, which could lead to kind of a clustering or centralization of our the actual pieces of hardware that our secure nodes are operating on. Now, of course, this is not ubiquitously applied. There are many people that run their own servers for their own secure nodes, but we do know that there are just economically competitive server farms out there that data centers that people use. So yes, we know that this is a potential ding against decentralization, and it is something that we want to improve over time. Keep in mind that the secure node system you see right now is our first version of it, our first iteration. The next iteration is going to be putting all of this tracking and payment logic on protocol, and then we'll be looking at very interesting kind of like dynamic payout optimizations potentially to try to encourage or economically incentivize further decentralization. And we'll also look at other kind of hardware options for what kind of device could we actually stick a node on. So there's a lot of really interesting kind of future developments that we're thinking about already that go towards our overall mission of decentralization. So the point here is we know that this wasn't a completely perfect system to start, but that's not reason to not start it, right? So we will be improving this continuously over time. So let's see, what other questions do we have here? If someone could help me triage some questions. How should secure node operators prepare for the fork? So when we actually release this software to testnet, everyone in the world will have access to it via our GitHub repo. So right now we've been rigorously testing the updates on our internal DevNet, and we're getting ready to push them to testnet. So once they're on testnet, we're going to have a lot of documentation on upgrade material, integration material, and we'll have a team, and of course our amazing customer support team will be available specifically to help you upgrade your software to be ready for this hard fork. So there will be no surprises here, guys. We're doing this extremely methodically, and we want to reduce as much risk as possible. So Spencer says, maybe we establish a seasteading island off the coast of South Carolina. Absolutely, I would absolutely love to, Spencer. So let's keep that thought in the back of our heads and actually think about doing that in the near future. So any progress on domain fronting? This is actually one that I'm not prepared to answer. I don't know if any of our other engineers who have been working that are online right now. Let's see, we may have to get back to you guys. Sorry about that. We're not omniscient, but that's a great question. That's something that we owe the community an update on. So we will get on that. Thanks for the reminder. Implement. Okay. So Trollino, one, after Zcash implements over winter, how long do you think it will take until you can implement it in Zencash? And two, now that we are added to Binance, are there any plans for us to be added to an exchange that allows margin trading? So number one, this is a really hard question to answer. So what I can say is that we track Zcash upstream improvements very closely. and we will be kind of cherry picking what we think makes sense for the project going forward. But now we have a more professional kind of upgrade cycle that we're implementing, and this is an absolute must because every hard fork is a high-risk event for the project. It's a high-risk event just naturally, but we can take mitigating measures to try to reduce that risk. So we have a kind of a lag cycle, and this you can track with our deprecation cycle. What we're doing now is we'll probably look at allowing a hard fork every quarter. So at minimum, at absolute minimum, it would take us about 3 months to incorporate and securely test any upgrades that come through Zcash. So this is kind of the minimum of that cycle. Now, of course, it could go beyond that depending on what else we have in the pipeline and the kind of availability of our engineering team. Now, as far as the margin trading exchanges, again, my favorite answer, like whenever people are asking when Binance, unfortunately, we can't talk about specific business development deals that are in the pipeline, or maybe we have on our radar. But I can say for sure, our mission is to get on every single useful exchange in the world that trades cryptocurrencies. So yes, we absolutely want to get on exchanges that also allow margin trading. Not that we endorse margin trading, it's just we want to provide as much liquidity options for our community as possible. Are ASICs a threat to Zencash? This is a very complicated issue. And it depends. Again, it really depends. And this is maybe a cop-out of an answer, but it really does depend on which stakeholder group you're part of, and it could for sure be a threat to stakeholder groups, say like people that invested in GPU miners. This could accelerate the obsolescence cycle for GPUs, which is certainly a risk to them. Now, as far as risk to the total system, there are some ways that ASICs, if they're monopolized by a particular company like Bitmain, could be a threat to a project like ours that is looking to implement community voting via stake. So it is a theoretical possibility that some manufacturer of ASICs could monopolize that hardware and accumulate an asymmetric amount of Zen that could have influence in how we make decisions for the project. This is always a threat. Now, what I would say in terms of the whole governance threat that we face, the fact that we have multiple stakeholders that get rewards from the Coinbase transactions, and what I mean is with this next hard fork, we're going to have 10% of new coin supply going to secure nodes and 10% of new coin supply going to supernode operators. So we have a less governance risk because we have a more diverse stakeholder group that receives new Zen when it hits the market. So we have less risk than other projects that don't have this type of multi-stakeholder diversion of block reward. But we don't want to discount this. What we do consider a bit of a risk is the whole 51% attack, which I personally think has been a little bit overrated in some of the popular crypto media recently. Now, 51% attack is for sure a legitimate threat to any proof of work mineable project, which we are. So we are actually developing mitigation plans to make sure that we become an extremely hard target for anyone that wants to waste their money on a 51% attack of our network. But we definitely take this as a credible risk and that we want to mitigate. And of course, someone that has a large share of ASIC miners that wants to implement a 51% attack, they have some advantage because ASICs are just so much more efficient than GPUs in mining. But we are taking kind of preventative steps internally to try to mitigate this risk. Okay, the secure nodes system being prioritized on top of the ecosystem software platform that was scheduled to happen during the year. Are we prioritizing the secure node system over the rest of the software? No, we're not. We have different teams working on them. There's definitely some overlap. Some of our core blockchain engineers are overlapping. But guys, the way to look at this is not independently. The secure node system is not an independent part of our architecture. It is integral to our system architecture. So the core improvements that are going live in July are extremely important as well. but the secure node improvements are also extremely important. So there is a balancing act here, and I think we've been doing a pretty decent job at it. And you can see the sequence at which we've done the upgrades, we think was what made the most sense from kind of an ecosystem level. Like, we wanted the secure node system to actually go live with our beta version that we did earlier. And then we have kind of a sequence of improvements leading up to now the huge overhaul improvement that'll be version 2. But we've also had teams working simultaneously in parallel on the core updates. So no, I wouldn't say that one's cannibalizing the other entirely, though there is a little bit of overlap. So does Zencash have any plan to break away from Zcash in the future? How many months are we going to allow Z9 to mine before we fork? I would actually say that we have more plans to work with Zcash in the future. And I think that Zcash is just an amazing example of a community-driven project that does amazing, or an example of an open source project that does amazing cryptography and just technical research. So this is something that, in a perfect world, I would love to cross-subsidize some of the research because we don't want to be freeloaders for their stuff, and we would love to give back. So a lot of the stuff that we open source, we would love for the Zcash community to implement some of our products as well and some of our improvements. So we want to give back, and we don't view them as competitors so much as collaborators, where we're all trying to push towards a better future for society, empowering individuals with more privacy, confidentiality of their kind of online digital footprint. So we're not actively looking to break from them, though we do have some significant R&D on our protocol upgrades that makes our code base, potentially diverge quite a bit, particularly on the block DAG stuff and having a treasury voting system built into our protocol, doing side chains. These are huge improvements, or actually huge developments that certainly diverge from the Zcash code base. But in terms of philosophy and kind of outlook and collaboration, I hope that we collaborate more in the future than diverge. Okay, so is MTP in consideration because Zcoin added it to their testnet? To be honest, not yet. This is something that we could table and evaluate, but guys, we can't. It's hard keeping up with what everyone's doing. But suggestions like this are awesome because we can always take this and add it to the the bucket of things that we need to evaluate to see if it makes sense for us to integrate and then figure out what resources that requires and what schedule it would best fit into. And when can you expect more details on the new flagship wallet? Guys, you guys have a ton of questions today. This is great. So actually, the developers who were working on the core wallet have actually just today handed over the binaries to our product team, and they're going through like a final review because they work collaboratively with each other. We just don't do engineering in a vacuum. We also now work with a product team that looks at the UX UI and evaluates things from a customer user perspective. And then we have kind of multiple levels of stakeholders, so different types of people, try out the products, give their feedback, and then this goes, we have one more cycle of any feedback that comes from this cycle. We'll go back to the engineers to see if there are any last minute kind of improvements that we can do. But what we have so far is an awesome product that I think is going to be very unique and interesting for the entire zero knowledge class of coins out there. I think this will be an incredible wallet product. Are we planning to expand the core dev team further if Zen happens to surge in price, do the overlap of work among team members to remain competitive? Yeah, Starks, this is a great question. We are actually actively hiring, but it goes across all of our divisions. And I can tell you what, one thing that I'm actively looking to staff up right now is our R&D division. So we're actually in talks with some scientists and very senior engineers to potentially join the team and look at being our own in-house R&D team. Now, in terms of our core blockchain team, so that's something that Alberto is shaping this team and doing an awesome job with it. And we are actually looking to staff up a little bit in the very near future, but we don't have massive expansion plans. We'd rather be frugal and conservative where we can. because this market is just massively volatile. And what we want to be cautious about is scaling too quickly and then realizing that we can't afford it, if the market were to tumble again. So I'm much more a fan of kind of measured growth, in a conservative way. But of course, we aggressively pursue things where it makes sense. So I don't want to sound too conservative, guys. I think we have a pretty decent mix. And stay chill and expand the treasury fund while we wait for the DAO. That's also a thing too. Is guys, I think we need reserves, and we've been fairly aggressive already with our team growth, but we want to make sure that no matter what, we're sustainable in any kind of economic environment. And the economics have not been very, very good to us so far this year. So in terms of market prices, but I think we've had some phenomenal successes given the constraints that we have. So, all right, guys, I think we're starting to go a little bit too long here. I know we started late, but it's already over an hour, even given our late start. So why don't we table anything else here, and we can answer questions for you in the kind of bi-weekly update chat here, and of course, on an ongoing basis in Discord or any of the other comm channels. So thank you very much for everyone chiming in. Happy 1-year anniversary to everyone here in the community, the project, the team. Thank you so much for everything, and have a great rest of your day.